Hey, welcome back to the Stripology podcast. I'm Wendy, your host, and we're doing part two of the topic around creating abundance with balance. And we've got the free workshop on Friday, the 18th of April, which is Good Friday, and it's going to be at midday Perth time, so Australian Western Standard Time. This topic is something that is so close to me, and it's also so relevant in this industry. So, you know, being your own boss, getting to choose your own hours, um, it can turn into, like quite an addiction, right? And there's no right or wrong. But this whole topic is just about, it's for you if you are someone that's like, you're feeling like out of balance, you're struggling to allow yourself to have enough rest or time off, and really coming back to if you're wanting to bring more balance in but struggling to know how or where to start, or it feels difficult, this workshop's definitely for you. So in last week's episode, I shared like one of many extreme moments in my career where things were really out of balance, and also the moment that really sparked wanting to create or needing to create more balance for sure. So when things were like really out of balance, there was a really stronghold on the fact that like work equals, you know, uh, getting somewhere, it equals success, it equals, all these things, and rest equaled like lazy or just not being productive, not getting that dopamine, not, um, not seeing enough relevance in the rest side of things. And so sparking off a big journey of like, what are the benefits of rest just beyond actual rest itself? And something that I found really helpful is really searching into like the benefits of the downside, like not downside, but you know what I mean, like the rest, like the, switching off basically. And there's just so many things that we can take from that being in that space, compared to just go, 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 like pedal through the metal, like you're, like just full gas all the time. There's a lot that can be missed, right? And so, yeah, step one, I guess, of like allowing yourself to come into more balance is, first of all, like feeling into where you're at. And if it does feel a little out of balance, like just giving yourself that permission. So obviously there's going to be a lot of different info in the workshop. But I just want to give like a few sort of examples of, what I've discovered from that full pedal to the metal style of being to now. And, obviously your path is clear when you look in reverse, but you do life forwards, but when you look back, it makes sense. But when you are looking forward, you're like, what the fuck is coming up next? And so it can be easy to dip into fear and be like, the only way I know to go forward is to like, like full on just work myself to the ground. And yeah, that's okay. And like I've been there for sure. And so just sharing a few things that like in retrospect, that makes sense now. That required trust in the unknown back then, allowing myself to loosen my grasp, because when there's no trust, there is the need to control. And so learning, and it's a process. It's not like you have one night off and you're like, ta-da! now I'm perfectly balanced. And another thing as well is the uh, balance is elusive. It sort of like confidence, like you can't pinpoint it, oh, that's the exact balance because we're cyclical, you know. Um, we have all different cycles day to day, month to month. Um, and there's different seasons for different things. So sometimes you are in the season of like full pedal to the metal, and sometimes you're in the season of like, I need to put the brakes on, but I don't know how. And everything feels like it's going to fall apart if I put the brakes on. What do I do? Kind of thing. And so, yeah, it's kind of like teasing that apart, and just realizing like it is a bit of a process. So looking back, like, allowing a bit of rest, what benefits come from there? And for me, I needed to really feel into the benefits so I could allow myself that rest space without judging it. There's such a difference between rest while you're judging yourself and rest when you are like in full acceptance of like, oh my God, it's so nice. It's so nice to have like full unapologetic rest. So, if you're listening and you feel it, you know what I'm on about. Like, just such a difference there. So, really leaning into like trust in yourself and your abilities. And what I found, like, with being able to, create more balance was more, I guess, freedom, obviously, with time and in my mind. And there's more freedom to learn different things. So, for example, money handling, the way that you handle your money, when you're like flat strap, working, 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 it's pretty obvious, like it's coming in quickly. But sometimes it can be handled in a more effective way than when you're completely not paying attention to like what you do with it. So that is one thing where having space in your life to kind of investigate, like actually how do I want to invest this money? Like what is this all for? And sort of like evaluating where you're at and what you want to create and things like that. That comes from the space that you carve for yourself when you're not working flat strap. So there is a little piece of like permission, if you need it for yourself to be like, hey, cool. There is a lot of benefits. Um, and on that note, like for example, like currently for me in my life, um, looking back, we are about to sell our investment property. And thankfully, the last few years have been like really bullish. It's been, the market has just been rising and rising and rising. Now, that's something that we wouldn't have been able to predict. In fact, the first house that we bought, the one that we're selling, way back in 2013, the market dropped after that heavily and the value dropped over 100K. And so for like a first house purchase to then be like, oh, it's dropped almost immediately and the market just went down, 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 and so it makes sense to me looking back and obviously knowing myself and like, being like, fuck, like what can I rely on? Like what certainty is there out there? Like I can only trust myself. Like I need to, and really like just, you know, working myself, being like, okay, that was meant to be an investment and it's losing money. What I didn't realize is it only loses money if you sell in that period, and so these are all things like learning through experience and learning through curiosity and having that space to learn, like, the way that different things work. Because when we feel the need to ultimately control like the situation that we know only, we don't allow other avenues and other like mysteries of life to unfold. And so that's something that like I really love nowadays is actually, even though the unknown, there's like, the fear of the unknown, but through time, I've learned to really trust that and be like, actually, part of me kind of really likes what is possible outside of my realm of like comprehension. You know, a lot of the time we can't pre-predict a lot of things. And so with that in mind, it's like trust in life, I guess, is like something that, you know, some people just have it, lucky them. Some people have a really cushy, nice, I don't know, like, the world is rainbows and things are trustworthy and things are, secure. And then sometimes it doesn't feel like that. And it's like it needs to be learned, it's like, where's the evidence, And so for me, I was in that boat where I'm like, okay, like, don't have a lot of trust out there. There's no evidence. I am going to create everything myself. Hyper independence, all that. And it's kind of like a mechanism that's developed. And yeah, so part of like bringing balance in is working on parts of yourself that um, have not had a chance to develop or have been like sort of overtaken by other parts that are like, I've got this, I've got this, like I need to take control. And so anyway, in looking back, like for me, COVID thankfully was really good timing in my journey for experiencing being able to let go. And everyone's, like I said, like, there's no right or wrong or anything, like just part of my path and the timing. I mean, it worked in well. I guess I allowed it to work in well with the timing of things. Um, but going to sell the house now, it's gone up several hundred thousand. And like that wasn't something I could have predicted a few years ago. Like judging by the market, it was like market's dismal. It's not moving. It's not doing anything. I think Perth had like an 8-year downturn. But it's like hope for the best, prepare for the worst, and trusting in the mystery of life. So yeah, there's a lot there. Basically, we can live in, I guess, different states of the way that we perceive things, like different perceptions, create a different reality. Um, and it can be, like heaven or hell. You get to decide. But what I've found is like it's best to decide that internally rather than allowing the world to shape your perception. Like you do have choice in the matter. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up shortly because I'm going to save a lot of the stuff for the workshop. But being able to, if you don't attend the workshop, here's a little piece that I'll just share here. Being able to view rest and doing things in a different way that create more balance, or it might just be, where yeah, it can look like many things to different people, but allowing that to also be viewed as like it's an addition to the equation, it's not a subtraction. There is value in all of that. And if you are not sure where you stand on like how you feel with the balance that's going on at the moment, sometimes it's very obvious, like your soul is screaming at you and you ignore it and ignore it and ignore it. Sometimes it's quite subtle, but that is also another piece, learning to kind of like feel into like how you're truly feeling. So it doesn't get to a point where it's like screaming and banging at you for you to listen. So anyhow, yes, I look forward to the workshop. See you on the 18th of April. So Good Friday, midday Perth time. And yeah, if you have any questions, bring them along. It's going to be interactive. I look forward to it and have a great week. See you.